Hello everyone. This is going to be our first video to start to go over what distance learning might be looking like for us here in US history. So the plan is to just go over some of the changes that's going to be happening to the way the class operates, the way grading happens, and then to set up what your very first assignment is for this week, just one thing for the week, so that we can begin to acclimate to this new reality that we're facing. So here we go. All right, so general update, just kind of about what was going on with me. So what I did over my COVID quarantine. I cleaned the house. So there'd been some cleaning I'd been putting off, and suddenly I had all this time, willing to do that. Especially since I would have to be there all day long. But not long after I scrubbed everything and got it done, discovered that a mouse had died in my attic. So that's fun. So what it basically meant was my house smelled like dead mouse for the couple weeks. So the smell has died down. I went up into the attic, searched for it twice, couldn't find it either time. So that kind of sucked, but it's gone now. So we're moving forward. Like many of you, I watched an unhealthy amount of television because what else are we supposed to be doing? As I got through stuff, I really just kind of stayed home for the first 2 weeks. I literally went to get the mail and threw out the trash, and that was about it. But I started to run out of food, so I did go to Costco once, and now I'm kind of set for the rest of however long this is going to take. Tried to start running again. We'll see how that goes. I think I hurt my knee. I'll get through it, though. It'll be fine. And I read a book. It was called Grading for Equity, and it's kind of going to govern some of the new practices that we have going on in the way we're approaching all this distance learning. So, question that we need to deal with right now is how are we resolving the fact that school ended before midterms? So we had a binder check scheduled. Remember, it's been canceled, so just don't worry about it, right? We need to move forward. There's certain things we had to just kind of leave behind and accept that they're not going to happen. Remember we were going to have a midterm, like actually on midterms day, that really assessed your skills. I went over it for you. I gave you, I think it was maybe a yellow handout that kind of set up what it would look like. We're no longer going to be doing that, but keep that sheet because that's what our tests are going to be looking like now for distance learning, because that format is difficult to cheat on because it's actually assessing your skills and not just did you know the answer. So the other thing is, what about late work? So what if you were absent near the end? So step one here is you need to check the gradebook on Student Parent Portal to see if you have anything missing. If you have any packets like homework stuff missing that you never turned in, take pictures of all those pages and email them to me or upload them to your Google Drive and share that folder with me, and I'll give you credit for what I see going on there. Axes paragraphs, do them online the way we've always submitted them to turnitin.com as before. I sent out a mass email to anyone that had a missing Axes paragraph. I did this maybe about 2 weeks ago. I've graded the ones that people actually turned in. So I think there were 40 of them missing and only 8 of them got turned in. So there's still a lot of missing work that needs to be done there. You need to be doing that this week now that we're back in school. You're expected to do it. There are just a couple of you that have unit tests missing. There's so few of you that I will email you directly if you're in this situation. Essentially, what's going to happen is you're going to be taking the test on that content using the new format of where our tests will be, because you're going to have to do this test from home. And so it can't be easy to cheat on. Okay, so a few things to go over is what our old systems look like and what our new systems are going to be looking like during distance learning. So our old system, there was participation grades built into there. So 5% from binder checks, 5% from participation, like you were following the rules, respect, and responsibility. They got entered in at progress reports and report cards. Next up, 40% of your grade was based on classwork and homework. So that was all the stuff that was in the packets, right? So daily activities, they delivered the content sometimes through notes, sometimes through document analysis. And remember, it was only homework if you just didn't finish in class. Blah, blah, blah. So the previous day's work would be stamped the next day to just check for completion, and there was a small deduction if it wasn't completed on time. Everything was contained in a packet. I collected it at the end of the unit. Now, we need to reconsider what we're doing here because this simply can't work in the new virtual setting. Pretty much nothing that you're not going to have any class, I don't think, where everything is one for one perfect for what it was being at school versus the new distance learning virtual setting. So here's what we're going to be doing for participation in classwork instead. Participation grades now worth 0% of your grade. So, no more binder checks, no more respect and responsibility because we're not in class together. Essentially, how this is going to work now is it's just your responsibility to stay on top of your work. You need to learn to self-regulate your behavior and take ownership of your learning. I can't be there to nag you about stuff, right? I can't be there to say you have to organize it this way. It's worth 5% of your grade. You just need to do it on your own. This next one's a little bit scary, so hopefully you're sitting down. Classwork homework is now going to be worth 0% of your grade. So what's going on is a lot of that grade was to keep you basically on task and to see that I'm here, I need to do this work, I need to finish it, I need to stay on pace with the stuff. But I can't be checking that in that same way anyway. So what we're going to move from giving you points for just complying with what we had to do to giving you really your entire grade based on how well you can actually do the skills that we've been practicing so far. So the way it's going to work now is I will still post all the activities, right? So I'm still going to post all the activities we would have been doing in class, but they will be digital instead. You can complete them on your own flexible schedule. So I'll give you a general pacing guideline to say if you just want to do one of these things per day, do that. Normally it would be doing 2 of those in one class period, right? So you work your own schedule, and for the work that you choose to do, if you have questions, there will be office hours where we can communicate together and go over it one-on-one. So work will be assigned through Google Classroom. There will be no completion check for your work. So everything is there so that you can make a copy of the work so you can type in and do it yourself. You can access it. I can view the work that you did if you did anything at all. Like I said, posted digitally as singular assignments. They're not going to be collected. They're not going to be given points. But don't think that this is just, wow, you're like, I don't have any work to do. The assessments are going to be the same, which I'll go over next, which means that you really can't go into a test, an assessment, when you haven't done any work. You're setting yourself up for failure. So doing the work that you feel is necessary to do, it's worth 0% of your grade, but it's probably 100% worth your time as you figure out what you need to do. All right, so let's look at what tests and assessments look like. Remember, they used to be this way. Writing assignments were worth 25% of your grade. We had one Axes paragraph per unit, and they were graded using the same rubric every time. You turn them into turnitin.com to check for academic dishonesty every time. So there's that. You know what it looks like. Some of you still have some of those to turn in. You really need to get on top of that. So 25% of your grade as well was based on those multiple choice reading tests we took, and then those FRQs that were based on the essential questions. Now, they were always 20 multiple choice, 2 FRQs. All those questions were tied to our reading skills that you're tired of me talking about, but here they are again. How well you can source stuff, provide a context, closely read the source, and corroborate it with other documents. They were based on sources we studied in class or related to content that we studied even though you'd never seen that specific document. And test corrections were always offered if you got a score below a 70% on the multiple choice test. Now, we can't do that system anymore perfectly, right? Because if you have multiple choice test, there's only so many options and you have the internet. Cheating will occur. It's easy, so we can't do that anymore. So here's what it's going to look like instead. Your writing assignments are now worth 50% of your grade, and everything looks the same. One Axes paragraph, do it at the end of each unit, graded using the same rubric, submit it to turnitin.com with one new thing. And that new thing is that you can do revisions on any of those writing assignments. So if you get back your score and you're not happy with it, well, the answer is you go back to turnitin.com, you rewrite it, you resubmit it, and I regrade it. And if you scored better on the rubric because you're demonstrating the skills better, well, you get the better score. So notice this, that homework is gone, classwork is gone, and often that was kind of like buoying up your grade because it wasn't just based on skills, it was based on completion. These revision assignments are your one way to improve your grade if you're concerned. So there's no extra credit, there's revision. So 50% of your grade is based on those Axes paragraphs. Those are looking the same as we were doing them before. The other 50% of your grade is going to be based on these new primary source reading test. So that's the thing we would have done for that midterm that I canceled. This is just going to be the format of those reading tests we do instead. Sorry, that we do instead. So you're going to be given a list, almost like a menu of documents. You choose 2 of them. You'll then answer some question tied to 5 key skills that are involved in reading historical sources. So annotating the source, figuring out what the source is, who it's by, what they're all about, the context, close reading, so choosing quotations, identifying the claims, and corroborating it with the second document. Now, we use normally, those are through multiple choice. In class, we practice those skills with specific questions and specific documents. The way this works is you choose your 2 sources that you want to demonstrate these skills with. The sources will be ones that came from the assignments that were optional to do. The one thing that's new is I will have a rubric, and I think I gave you this rubric on the back of kind of what the assignment would look like for the midterm. And you're graded on that rubric, on that 4-point scale. It's tied back to those skills. Same group rubric graded, used every time. And just like writing assignments, I will offer test retakes on this. So if you get your grade back and you're not happy with it, you can redo it. Maybe it was that you choose documents you didn't understand, so do it with different documents. Maybe you look at it and what you put, and then you look at the rubric and you say, oh, I understand, I just didn't do this. Go back and fix it and turn it back in. I will regrade it. And again, if you prove through your work that you can demonstrate that skill after the revision, then you absolutely deserve the higher score. But realize revisions and retakes are extra work, but also you won't have homework and classwork required. So that's an opportunity that you are able to take. Okay, so let's talk about what our first week back is going to look like. That first week is all about acclimation to our new context. It's not about jumping in with work. So the one assignment you have for this week is a bit of a scavenger hunt to sort of get to all the digital resources that you're going to have to be accessing in this new virtual setting. So I got to make sure that you're familiar with them and that you're able to access them from home. And if you don't, then we communicate and we figure out a way to make it work. So the assignment with specific directions will be posted on Google Classroom, so check out there for that. But here's the broad overview of what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to go to the gradebook and see, do you have any late work? Are you missing axes paragraphs? Do you need to make up a test? Did you never turn in the last packet? So you know and you show me that I know I'm missing this, and here's what I'm going to do about that before grades are due for Q3 that we never quite finished because of this break. You're going to have to be checking your VUSD school email pretty much every day. That's where I will communicate and send stuff to you. So I know some of you don't use it at all. You need to get into the habit of actually using it. You need to be checking Google Classroom on a regular basis as well. That's where all digital resources will be posted. So we've been using it already, but you need to make sure you actually understand that. We've used Edpuzzle before a little bit. It was where I kept you accountable for watching those lecture videos. That's where I'm going to be posting videos that set up directions on assignments and then debriefs to go over assignments. So you need to log into there and see if you're having tech issues and let me know if you're having problems. Same thing with turnitin.com. If you're running into tech issues from home, you need to let me know because that's where you're turning in all work from this time period. So not just the writing assignments, but the reading test as well, to make sure that you're just not, copying stuff from the internet or copying it from each other. So everything's turned in through turnitin.com. So we need to make sure that works from home. Lastly, I posted like a little check-in survey last week on Google Classroom. Many of you did it already, but if you haven't, I would like you to do that just so I can know how you're doing, what's going on, how you're feeling, what your concerns are. All right, we will begin our next unit, new content, on Monday, April 13th. So this first week of when we're back, again, it's about acclimation. It's not about jumping right in. It's about getting late work done, making sure all your kind of ducks are in a row, that you're able to use the resources we will need. And I'll post an overview of what our distance learning will look like for the remainder of the term when we start that. My general goal is that, again, for every assignment, it'll have a short little video to set up the directions, and then the next day, I'll post the one to go over it. So if you're following the pacing I suggest, you get the directions, you do the work, you can watch the debrief the next day. start the next thing and follow that process. All right, folks, that's it. So I'm sad I don't get to see you in class anymore. I feel like we had a good vibe going, and basically that's kind of ruined. So this is going to be something that we're going to have to work together on all of this. So it's pretty new to me. It's new to you. There are going to be challenges and roadblocks along the way. My ultimate goal here is that the curriculum that we're doing together has a few components. One is that it's fair. Another is that it is flexible. And the last is that it is empathetic. So if stuff comes up and you're not able to do it, and it's because there's specific things from our new context that are preventing that, then you just email me and let me know, and we figure it out together, right? If you feel some of the new processes we're going through are not fair, then you email me and you let me know. You complain about it. Otherwise, I won't know. So fair, flexible, empathetic. That's the way we need to be moving forward on all of this. But you need to get going by checking Google Classroom, staying on top of these early assignments and any late work you have, so we're ready to go next week when we actually start new content. Okay, so that's all, folks. So thank you for watching. I won't be seeing you around, but you'll be seeing me up in that corner quite often. So bye-bye.